Thank you all very much for making your way up to this rather remote room and for finding it. I hope we've got an interesting session for you today. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Tom Page. I head up the hotels team at CMS. We've got a slightly different session today. We've got 4 operators who are here to pitch to a panel of judges and to you, the audience, their different operating models. The format of the session is basically going to be each operator is given an opportunity to make a presentation. They'll have 5 minutes. The judges will then question them for 5 minutes on their proposed models. All of the operators have been given a scenario in advance, a hypothetical development scenario, and they will be pitching to a panel of judges who represent the owner of that development opportunity as to why they should be chosen as the operator of choice for this particular development opportunity. We're trying to focus today more on the operating model rather than a sort of the brands per se. We're not trying to have a popularity contest between the brands. This is about what type of models are available in the market for a particular development of a hotel, and which ones may serve an operator best, and what are the pros and cons of the different operating models. Speaking today for the operators, we have Andrew Shaw for Accor, and he'll be presenting on a branded management agreement proposal. We have Paul Johnson from Q Green, and he'll be proposing a white label management agreement combined with a branded franchise agreement. We have Thomas Corinth from Steigenberger, and he'll be proposing a lease model. And we have Thies Brugman from Citizen M, who'll be proposing a form of hybrid management agreement arrangement. They'll be pitching to a panel of 4 judges who are representing the owner. We have 2 investors. On my left, we have Mark Socker from Invesco and Marty Kandrak from Mount Kellett, representing the money. We have Tim Helliwell from Barclays Bank, who's representing the lender. And we have Nick Van Markham from Deloitte, who is the financial advisor for the project. And they'll be responsible for challenging the operators on their presentations and questioning them for 5 minutes after their presentations. Once all of the operators have finished their presentations and their questions, we'll open up the questions to the floor, and you'll be able to either make comments on your views on the presentations that have been made or ask questions to any of the operators. And then we'll have a final wrap up. The judges will give their views on what operating models they found most convincing as a result of the presentations. So without further ado, I'm going to invite Andrew Shaw to come up for Accor and to give his presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Thanks. When does the time start?
Time starts now.
Okay, right. I'm speaking on behalf of the direct brand management approach, but as Tom said, this is non-brand specific, so forget the Accor piece. This is really about ownership and how we help owners. So, starting with the premise that hotel ownership is about pride and passion and probably a little bit of ego, and there's nothing wrong with ego in the hotel ownership world. I would propose that an ideal way for an owner to protect his investment is through professional branded direct management. The benefits of that are twofold. We have the brand benefits, which are really it's the battleground of ownership and control, or not control, ownership and identification with the customer to minimise the impact of the third-party agents and the commission. So this is about the brand's extensive investment in loyalty cards, loyalty schemes, in their websites, in their social media, etc. All about promoting the brand, getting the brand recognition, so that the customer returns to the hotel time after time. To the side of that, we have the operational benefits, and this is about the significant experience of the brand platform. So many of the main brand platforms, including Accor, 50 years plus experience of running their hotels and running hotels on behalf of owners. So it's a very compulsive argument, and the operational benefits. That's about the distribution, the reservation systems they run. Again, it's about their websites, it's about the sales and marketing effort they put in, it's about P&L cost control and their experience of that. It's about the technical construction services they offer, pre and post construction, and all the other departments and services you expect, so HR, IT, for the PMS and revenue management, procurement, etc., etc. So again, it's a very compelling argument. The proposal First we're going for is a 200-bedroom, 4-star international hotel. So that's full service, F&B, restaurant, bar, conference and banqueting, bit of leisure. Gross external area per key, 55 square metres, so 11,000 square metres gross external area, at a build cost of about 26 million euros, 120,000 euros a key. So any similarity to Novotel is purely coincidental. It's probably a good model. Haven't you? The P&L looks like this. We've got an industry-beating occupancy and rate through the distribution system that the brand will run. We've got a cruise EBIT of about 4.2 million. We've got pretty standardised management contract structure with a guarantee thrown in. Under the yield credentials that Tom set for this panel, we've got an 8% yield on the management contract. So on a 10-year discounted cash flow NPV, you've got an NPV of about 57.6 million euros, 288,000 a key, which against a development cost of 26 million euros isn't too shabby, I would say. I would argue, obviously, under this model that the management contract is evolving and it's much more user-friendly and owner-friendly than it was a few years ago. Things are changing and evolving, as the panel will know and as many of you in the audience will know. The things we'd expect to be negotiating around in terms of this scenario, obviously the fees, get the basic incentive fee correct, so the operator is incentivized to maximise revenue, maximise profit conversion. We'd expect a conversation about the term, the length of the contract, or this one has been set at 20 years. We'd expect conversations about guarantees versus priority payments. Obviously about performance tests, whether it's RevPAR or a GOP conversion test. The challenge for the brands at the moment is termination rights. Because of the amount of investment the brands are putting into the brands, to get early termination or termination without cause is a challenging area for negotiation. But I'm sure we'd be touching on it. And then for the right sites and the right locations, the big strategic ones, we're looking at key money and joint venture equity. But it's a system and a structure that works, and it can add value. It doesn't detract from value. I ripped out a page from the JLL leaflet that was in all of your delegate packs, and it mentions in there that get the brand right, get the magic contract terms right, you can have a value-added position, not a value-detracting position. And it's also a structure, as I'm sure Tim will echo, is favoured by the banks. If you're looking for debt, they like to see a brand attached to the proposal, and they like to see professional management attached to that as well. So you must get it in a one-stop shop, go for the brand and direct management. So I wrap it all up in the Goldilocks principle, which is the owner, the brand and the management in perfect harmony, adding value to the property, and all working together for the greater good. I didn't get switched off. That's brilliant.
30 seconds.
Well, brilliant. That's me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Just before I hand over to the rest of the judges, just one question I have is what basis do you have for asserting that you can deliver market-beating occupancy and rate?
What's an oversell? I mean, that goes, yes. I'm speaking on behalf of brands everywhere, but obviously from an Accor perspective, if there are Accor owners in the room, and if they're UK owners, particularly, our distribution system it's very good at driving volume and supporting rate. So in the UK we've had 18 months of continual month-on-month RevPAR growth, and that's coming off the back of an Olympics, which is pretty special for the UK market. So we are confident if it's a Novotel and Accor brand, we're very confident of delivering distribution and delivering volume above market occupancies at a market level rate, average rate.
Thank you, Andrew. Tim, it was mentioned by Andrew that he thought you might support the bank's opinions on a management agreement. What's your views on that?
On the brand piece, but obviously all of it.
I thought I was going to be judging, not I've been answering questions. Well, my first question before I answer yours, Tom, is what type of NOP percentage are we looking at for this type of model that you've got here, Andrew?
Yeah, shall I go back up to the...
Well, there's a big box in front of them, so I can't...
Well, with 5 minutes, I have to gloss over the important bit. We'd expect to be, on a guarantee level, to be around this cruise at around 65% of NOP on a guarantee or a priority payment, and that would probably be higher in the initial years, maybe 80, 70, down to 65 on a typical contract.
And the NOI is after management fees and reserve?
NOP is after base incentive fee, the EBIT is after CapEx reserve, and the incentive fee.
FF&E as well.
Yeah, FF&E is out of there, yes.
So you got a conversion rate of 46% increase.
42.6% of good cruise is stabilised, yeah. But yes. And the FF&E reserve goes at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, which is why the cruise is actually 40.6, which is the year 5 EBIT.
I mean, I'd be specifically interested in funding this project, especially guarantee that you've got down the bottom there, Andrew. Is that prevalent in this operating model, the guarantee?
This is based on, if I'm going to talk about ACCA for a while, this is based on a UK provincial Novotel in terms of profit conversions and guarantee levels that we can set. So in ACCA being the world's, if I'm going to promote ACCA for a bit, the world's largest hotel operator, we own and lease a lot of hotels as well as running for owners. So one thing we're very good at is profit conversion. And it does surprise a lot of owners and a lot of banks when we put this kind of model in front of them, and they always immediately jump to the bottom line saying that's a very high conversion rate, but we have the stats and the credentials to back it up and prove we're operating our hotels at these kind of levels. There's no reason why franchisees can't do it.
How does that compare to a freestyle? You're operating?
Well, it's all about the top line, really. If you look at a Mercure versus a Novotel, similar facilities, similar structure, there's no reason the Mercure won't convert it at that level, but as long as you're doing the top line. So it's a mid-market, and Mercure is 4-star as well, it's not a 3-star brand, so there's no reason it wouldn't convert at the same levels.
So is there a Novotel in Berlin?
Yes, big one. Yes.
Does it do 21,000 euros of NOI per key?
Pass. I don't know. Yeah.
It's a weird question.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen a hotel, and this is not Berlin, this is a nondescript city, Brussels, Berlin, whatever, Budapest.
Yeah. If it's a
20,000 euros of NOI.
If it's a lease,
NOI per key, that's
if it's a lease and they run similar structures to the UK, there's no reason why it wouldn't or it shouldn't convert at that level. But I have no idea what the Novotel's doing in terms of top line occupancy and rate, and that's if you get that bit right, then the rest drops out essentially.
I think we've done. Yeah. We don't need to hear the other proposals.
No, we've got a guarantee there, Marty. So that's perfect, and we've got owner and operator in perfect harmony, apparently. Yeah. I mean, we heard Sebastian this morning as well. I mean, I think we all know what the answer is.
Job done. I've done my work.
You said before on the last page about the various different stress points you'll have on negotiation points, but you give guarantees, but you also give no termination rights. And how does that
Well, it's why I didn't really go into the detail of the contract details. It's obviously the mix of guarantees versus key money versus termination rights versus length of contract. It's all wrapped up, so you don't get to win as an owner. You don't get to win on every single point, but you'll certainly challenge us on all the points, and the more you get, the happier you'll be, I guess. But we wouldn't put guarantees necessarily against key money, against equity, against a termination without cause right. So we'd expect to negotiate around each of those particular points.
And Andrew, is that exit value you're talking about, is that sort of fairly common for these types of projects?
And can I ask you to ask very briefly, because your 5 minutes of Q&A is up?
Well, the yield itself, the 8% was set by, and that's set by Tom as the parameter for this scenario. But I'd expect in the UK a yield on a management contract to be 7, 7.5, not 8. But we're talking Europe here, not necessarily UK.
Just one thing, that's part of 30, a key pure development cost. It's not like you were given data to assign land value. It's purely.
No, that's we'd expect for Novotel 4-star Novotel in the European market to be about 120, 130 a key.
Yeah, that doesn't include cycles. Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Andrew.
No problem.
If I can now invite Paul to come up from Q Green. Thank you, Paul.
Excuse me. Well, hello everybody. Let me just get off this. Oh, hang on. There we go. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. I've been asked to come here and talk about the white label management model. So it's a third-party operator operating under a brand franchise, and why that gives the developer the best option. I've got 5 minutes. I've got 3 slides. So here we go. First of all, Q Green Hotels. We are an independent management company. We operate 35 hotels under a multitude of brands. We are brand agnostic, so we can choose from any brand, from any provider. So we choose the best brand, and we work with Hilton, we work with Accor now, we work with Marriott, with IHG, etc. And so we have a choice of hundreds. Q Green Hotels actually delivers a higher operating profit margin than anybody else. We have taken over a number of brand-run hotels, and we converted revenue to profit 40% better than they have. And we are recognised by Lloyds Banking Group as converting revenue to profit better than any other operator that they deal with. So an independent management company can really increase your profitability. We also, one of the great benefits is we offer very flexible management contracts. We're there to provide a solution for owners. So we offer 3-year, 5-year, 10-year contracts, which really allows you to have the flexibility to exit as you want to exit. We'll also invest on a joint venture basis, and we've done that a couple of times, and we share in the upside of the scheme. Our objective really is to maximise value for the owner. We've got a strong central support function, so as well as having a brand, whichever brand that we choose to support, we have a Q Greens central reservations, central revenue management, central operational support team to help as well, so you get 2 teams rather than 1. Now, looking at this exercise, and we've used it as a real exercise, as we always do, we've looked at the brand options and we've selected the Aloft brand from Starwood. It's a funky brand targeting Generation Y customers. It's select service, so it's very profitable, and it's got a real urban, edgy feel about it. It's got 79 hotels already with a strong pipeline, and it costs about €100,000 a key to build in the UK, in Europe. It appeals to business and leisure travellers, which is important for this scenario, and it achieves an RGI index of 112 in Europe, in its European location, so it beats its competitive set. So our proposal for this location is that we build a 150 bedroom Aloft hotel, and we're given parameters about this. So they've got basically a 15,000 square foot development limit. So a 150 bedroom hotel. We put in a branded restaurant, a third-party restaurant, which we're proposing under this to operate ourselves, but the developer could operate it under a third-party lease if they wanted. But also in the other space on the site, we would put in 85 apartments as well. So we're giving the flexibility. The brand is allowing us to do a mixed-use scheme. That reduces the risk profile, so it's balancing the risk for the developer and not just having a 400-bedroom big unit that they've got a stuff full of cheap business. You've got a smaller, more efficient hotel, plus you can sell your apartments and reduce the capital that you need to use. In terms of the financial model, we've just showed the hotel here. We've built it based on our experience of Aloft and also our own operating model experience. As we're always very cautious when we do forecasts. We don't overpromise. We tend to over-deliver, but with an RGI index of 112, we'd expect to outperform these numbers. So on year 5 projections, we're looking at stabilised revenue of about €8 million, which is delivering €3.2 million pre-fees and FF&E. Sorry, it's gone off. And which is giving about €3.2 million profit, so a 40% margin. The owner's return post fees and FF&E reserve is 2.4 million. The FF&E reserve was given to us, I think, 6%, which we've applied to this. So this forms the basis of our investment appraisal. So if we look at the numbers now, on the top there we've got the number of units, so 150 beds, 85 apartments. We are generating a hotel value of €27 million. That is based on an 8% yield, and also then the apartments valued at €23 million, which is based on Knight Frank data that we can get hold of. So it's a 50 million development value, but a very balanced risk. So you're not just in one category, you're balancing your risk in apartments and in a hotel as well. The hotel value, as I said, had been calculated on an 8% yield. Now, the great advantage of using an independent management company is if you have flexibility on the exit, you can then take your valuation based on pre-FF&E reserve, but there's no management fees involved. So that money goes direct into your valuation, so we increase the value by 5 million euros. So instead of it being 27, it is now 32 million. And that I've got my 30 seconds. Fantastic, that's all I need. So we get another, the advantage of using us is we convert revenue to profit better than anybody else, and we can prove it, and we do it, and it's recognised, and that we can create additional value on exit. That's it from me. That's a proposal. Thank you very much indeed, and these are the few bullet points to leave you with.
Hi, thanks for that. Can you explain not so much the numbers, but your sort of the context of your management agreements? How do the fees work?
Yeah,
and then also, sorry, linked to that as well, in terms of the relationship with the with Starwood for Aloft.
Yeah.
Is that the franchise agreement with Q Green? So on exit, does the franchise agreement have an automatic termination right or not?
No, the franchise agreement is with the property, not with the management company, but obviously any new management company would need to be approved by Starwood or Accor or whoever else it is as well. And in terms of, what was the first part of your question, sorry? It was.
Yeah, how are you sort of formulating your management agreements in terms of base incentive fees?
Yeah, we use base incentive fee. It's individual to each one, but we will take a proportion of revenue, a proportion of profit. If we take over a portfolio, which we've done before, we'll sometimes just go purely on an incentive basis because we know we can drive the revenue numbers.
And your numbers, what do they assume? In yours spreadsheet?
These are 2 and 6, I think. Revenue, 6% of profit. We're very reasonable.
Can I just check so you're offering an NOP of 29-30%, Andrew's offering can you hear me?
No.
So you're offering an NOP of 29%, Andrew's offering an NOP of 46%. What's the difference and why should we be going with it?
That's a good question. I can't comment on Andrew's numbers. I can only comment on ours. And our numbers, we know we can deliver. We know that we deliver better than brand operators, or brand owners. So.
What do we do if we can't do the resi? Do you have any? I guess that 150 rooms is as much as you would go in this market scenario for your loft.
Then you can split into 2 brands. You can do two different offers. You could do extended stay apartments, or you could do a 4-star and a budget hotel, and put 400 bedrooms on if you want. So this was just a scenario that we were just an option that we thought was a good option. It's a very balanced risk.
And how does your sort of termination, your early termination right, how does that work?
Well,
how does your termination right work on exit in, say, 5 years' time?
Well, in 5 years, if you want to exit in 5 years, you give us a 5-year contract, and then there's no termination.
Okay, and if I wanted to do it, if you weren't performing after 2-3 years?
Well, then in certain circumstances, we will accept some performance measures in there, but otherwise you just pay a penalty fee and you get out.
No guarantee.
No guarantee, no, we don't offer guarantees. If you were giving us a 20-year contract, we might offer a guarantee. Well, we may do, it depends on the project. But what we do is we are solutions provider, so we will find the right solution for you, whatever the circumstances. So I can't give you every scenario because it's different for each owner. And we work with Canada Life, we work with Whittington Investments, we work with Starwood, we work with Lloyds Banking Group, we work with lots of different institutions, and each one has a different strategy.
And how many people do you have at sort of operational level? So you have, I can't remember how many hotels you said you have.
We've got 35 hotels. We have about 1,500 employees. We have a central team of about 50.
How do you deliver better margins than a branded operator? Is it cost-based or
Well, yeah, we are very focused on cost. When we take over a unit, you'll see a lot of cost in from a brand owner. And it could be, I'll give you an example, from one of the brands that we work with. Their accounting system costs €30,000 a year on a 5-year basis, 150,000 euros. Our accounting fee costs £500, so €500 a year. So that's one bit. And then you're going for every single area of cost. We analyse every single area of cost line by line, invoice by invoice in a hotel, and we can strip out lots and lots of that cost. We have very flexible staffing models. We have a profit forecast, so we as an organisation forecast our profit forwards. So we're not looking back at what we've done, we're looking at where revenues are going to be, and there's a change twice a week, and we analyse the profit model every week at a central level for every single hotel. So that's how we manage our costs.
One more very quick question. Paul, do you think a 150-bed hotel is the right proposition for this particular example that you've given? We talked about the resi bit already, but are you saying that 150 beds is right anymore? That would be
no, I'm not. I can't tell you what the right size is because we've got very limited information. So you're just taking a shot. Somebody can argue 400. So.
We'll do 5 stars as well.
We asked me that question on Wednesday.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Paul,
Thank you.
for that. 5 minutes Q&A out. Thank you very much. Thomas Corinth from Steigenberger, who will... Yep.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I'm standing here for the lease contract, hybrid lease contract. Steigenberger Hotels is an original German hotel company in the moment with 98 hotels, some of them still under construction, most of them 75 in Germany and the rest already spread over the world. Some of them in Egypt, Austria, China, Switzerland, and the Netherlands. We are going for far more countries like Russia or Dubai in the moment we just signed. Our focus is on 2 main brands. The first one is our name, Steigenberger Hotels and Resorts. These are 4 to 5 star hotels, even deluxe hotels like our flagship in Frankfurter Hof. And there's a second brand which is called Intercity Hotels. You may know our railway system, Intercity, and it's a kind of former cooperation with this hotel company. And we are using this very famous brand, Intercity, for our hotels even, and it stands for Easy Hotels, 3-star plus hotels. And we even want to spread Intercity all over Europe. We've already opened in Vienna and now starting in the Netherlands. And as you all know, all railway systems try to improve and work much more together in future in total Europe. So this will be a very good brand for each country. So our first proposal for giving a solution on the problem, on the investor's problem, is a hybrid lease contract for an Intercity hotel. We calculate with around about 100,000 euro investment cost per room, and on the given space we see a 400 room hotel. Our normal lease contract structure would see first of all a minimum lease. We calculate it normally per room. Can be something in this case like 680, but it can even go up to 750. It depends a bit on the total investment cost at the end, which we will of course have to discuss with the investment partner, as we in the moment do not know exactly the price for the ground. In addition to this minimum lease per room, we always have the variable lease. So actually it's a variable lease contract with a minimum lease as bottom line. For example, here we have a 27% of total of gross operating revenue, so everything, rooms and F&B revenue. And so we will have a come out of around about in the third year 3.76 million euro lease for the owner, which makes a kind of quota at the end of investment of something between 8 and 9%. The final figures, of course, we have to negotiate and find out if we know the project. The KPIs of the given model were, of course, quite exciting. 75% occupancy and a total average in this city of 125 euro. So this is, you should know, really attractive. So we are very, very flexible in dealing things. The nice thing, of course, with the Intercity model is it's a 75 share of rooms revenue, so a big share with a high margin. In addition to this, and as intercity hotels mainly work on hubs, so we need a certain traffic situation. The best thing would be the railway main station of the town, or even an airport. But if this is not given, we of course can even discuss a Steigenberger. Then we come to the 4-star plus category, which is of course in combination with higher investments per room. We will even have then of course a higher revenue. We calculate here with the 50 million. But still we can show a 6.5 up to 8% ROI for the investor. And we are still offering a variable lease, but this is then in this case 21% due to the lower margins of the big F&B share. Here you see our next project in Stuttgart, for example, which is in Steigenberger then. So here you have both scenarios as comparison. Of course, there will be some points in our in our lease contract to be discussed. It's of course the height of the CAPEX reserve, the FFE reserve. You ask for an FRI contract, which we will hardly sign in Germany, maybe outside Germany, just to enter certain locations, certain countries.
You have 5 minutes up, so 30 seconds remaining.
Okay, no problem. And for you, jury, some other points we can discuss about. We accepted already the annual fixed charges, which are quite high in this case. But of course, we are always ready to share certain risk. For example, here another thing is the threshold. So we will certainly find a solution for you. And if this does not help, we even may have a third brand for you. But this is nothing we are talking about today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Thomas.
Who wants to kick off with any questions on that?
Thomas, which one of these things would you recommend?
I would actually, if we are close to a railway station, I would really recommend the intercity hotel in this case. Not because of the profits, just because it's a very good product which is helpful to open a new market.
Can I ask about rental coverages and how you've determined your rental level percentages and your minimum guarantees?
The rental coverage.
What are you trying to solve to on a stabilised basis?
I didn't get the question exactly.
In terms of a stabilised position, in terms of what level of rent you're comfortable paying, so you've obviously come up with a percentage of the minimum guarantee level plus a variable percentage.
No, it's just see we offer the variable lease of for example now 27%, and that's it. And you can even of course go higher. For example, on the right hand I showed a certain threshold step. So if revenues really increase, we can even put some points on the 27.
And in terms of your cap and your shortfall, how many years of rents are you assuming your standard?
1.5 to 2. And the cap from shortfall is just if the variable lease is below the minimum lease, then if the shortfall is raised, then we only pay the variable lease. But we normally use this just as a point to get into discussion with the lessor. It does not have to be necessarily a point of termination, for example.
Is it a triple net lease, or where did
you actually ask for a triple net lease? I calculated a triple net lease actually in these numbers. You see it, I put there something like FRI triple net is 1.5%. This is the difference for a triple net to a double net lease.
But to confirm, that's all your cost?
Yeah.
Including the 330,000 euros fixed cost? Okay.
But on the left side, everything is already in it, but it's for us a bit unusual to accept everything.
Well, this is unusual. This is unusual today.
No, I just said it. Maybe the owner of this property sits in the audience and he wants to sign this contract immediately. So,
which is the like-for-like offering relative to the managed scenario that we listened to first? Is it the Steinberger, Is that as close as you get to a like-for-like comparison, just so that the audience and the judges can get a feel for comparatives?
Actually, it's something between. Of course, with Accor, you offered, I think, the 4-star brand in the beginning, so this would be more or less like for like. But Intercity Hotel is already very close to the as I said, it's a 3-star plus. In Germany, the category is even sometimes 4-star. So it's, but for the Accor comparison, just take the Steigenberger, and the other one I think was a bit more the Intercity.
On the Steinberger, you're a bit more expensive to build.
Sure. It's a 4-star plus, and if an owner even wants to have an emotional ROI or accept this, then we could even build a 5-star hotel there. As the Steigenberger originally is really 5-star and deluxe hotels. And if you ask for something like this, we can certainly offer it, but then we will have investments of about, say 200,000, 220. This is already a lean 4-star product.
And you've got the rental yields expressed there, but based on the assumed yields we got for a capital value on a sale, how much capital profit would an owner be making if they sold that rent stream at the yields we gave?
Oh, I cannot answer this directly, to be honest. We are just calculating now on the total investment and saying, okay, this is your proportion of a lease in this case. I didn't calculate some purchase prices at the end of the time. It's,
in terms of, can you just go back and compare the rates, the ADRs on both projects? And that's against, so 75 for the Intercity, that's stabilised, yes?
That's stabilized in the 3rd year, or as we see already, Intercity hotels are already stabilized in the 2nd year, what we've seen in the latest openings.
And the Steigenberg you had at 150 rate?
It's 150 if it's the 4-star plus, yes.
And the market?
So the market was 125 and an occupancy of 75. So we assumed it to reach this occupancy without any problems. We have read to see how the structure of the market is, so the ADR with 75 may even be a bit low. It can be higher, 80, 85 in some places, but this is then dependent from the real case. 4-star plus, if you say the 125 was the average of the whole market and with a certain mixture given, so we assume this easily to be reached, and then even we are a new hotel and we are 4-star plus, so 150 should be possible, as the 5-star hotels on this market will certainly reach 200, 220. But of course we accept a lower occupancy, but in means of better RevPAR.
Okay, well thank you very much, Thomas.
Will you add to the list also some part for the upstream for the owners?
Excuse me?
Will you add to the owners participation in the upstream, or only stick to the list?
No, we have, for example, the offer would be here, this variable threshold. If we, for example, we assumed here in the Steigenberger 50 million revenue, something would be possible like adding another 0.5% of variable lease after reaching, for example, 16 million. If the business is really running good, you would get more money out of the development of the business.
Okay, thank you. We'll open up the floor later on when everyone's finished. We'll give them an opportunity, if we may. Thank you very much, Thomas, for that. And can I now welcome up Thies Brugman from Citizen M. Thank you, Thies.
Thank you. Thanks, Tom. Okay, Citizen M Hotels. I'm not really going to give you a full presentation on who Citizen M is and who we are. I hope that some of you might recognize the brand. We're currently active in a number of European cities, primarily Amsterdam, London, and Paris. We're about to open up our first hotel in the US in a month's time. So that's quite exciting. We have been given the opportunity actually to look at this project in what we have called City M. It's very creative. It's a plot of land of 15,000 square meters, similar to what we have seen previously. We are not going to take the full 15,000 square meters, but actually we're going to take part of that, and we feel that we can create a 180-bedroom Citizen M hotel on only 5,000 square meters on this location. So that means actually we give back 10,000 square meters to the developer to do something else with, and actually to create another highly profitable development. As this is quite a big city, I think that's something which shouldn't be so difficult. So we only take 33%, and that effectively means an instant saving on the cost of 67% in total, on the land cost, obviously. What are we going to create on these 5,000 square meters? 180 luxuriously fitted out bedrooms. We're not only a rooms machine, so we also add our generous public areas, which we have called our living rooms. Part of that is our 24/7 Canteen M food and beverage facility. And last but not least, we would like to incorporate our Society M business club. And in this case, it will be 4 meeting rooms catering between 6 to 24 people. If we quickly look at our value proposition, and see that the headings are actually falling off, but we have a very efficient use of space, so 27.5 square meters GFA, gross floor area per room. A low investment cost is comparable to a mid-scale hotel. A short construction period, only 10 months time we can create this hotel. A fast stabilization period, so within 2 to 3 years the hotel will stabilize in this new market. Relatively high revenues and a low operating cost. And this actually is something which is not only beneficial for the operator, I'm sorry about the coloring, but what it shows to the right is actually that's also very beneficial for the investor and the bank in this case, because it in general reduces the risks and timelines and cost. It is highly profitable, and it results in a premium return on investment. If we look at our proposal and then primarily our financial projections, we estimate that on this location, Citizen M can achieve an 87% occupancy level at an average room rate, which is comparable to the market at 125. The RevPAR, because of the higher occupancy level, will be 109. That results in total revenues of 8.7 million, and a per room total revenues of 48,000. Now, there's actually 2 flavors which we can offer to the owner. One of them is a management agreement, and the other is a hybrid lease. And I didn't really want to make a decision initially because it's not my money, so it's actually up to the owner, so to say, what their preference is. I'm not sure what their risk and reward profile is. Does any of you have a view on this? I mean, do you have a preference for a lease agreement or a management agreement in terms of your investment profile?
I think it's for you to convince us which is best for us.
Well, let's go. In that case, let's go for a management agreement because we have limited time, and most of the others also offer the management agreement. What we are willing to do as Citizen M is actually fully align with the owner and align our interest, and we can, for instance, forego many of the standard management agreement fees, such as, for instance, a base fee, and sales and marketing fee, accounting fee. And we are only being rewarded on the profit we actually deliver to the property and to the owner in that sense. So the higher the property, the profit level is, the higher the share will be, which will be shared with Citizen M. And apart from that, there's a whole number of other things which we can offer. We can offer either very short-term leases or management agreements, or have sort of like 5 years, for instance, but also 15 years or even an indefinite period with certain break options. Another thing which we can offer is to actually take on the staff on our behalf. So everything, all the liabilities for the staff are not with the real estate owner, but with Citizen M. Obviously, the owner will still pay for it like it is in a normal management agreement, but the liabilities are with Citizen M. And last but not least, I mean, something like a development clause is possible. So if the owner wants to redevelop into something in another use, that's something we can consider. If we look at the numbers, which I've not included on the slide, but which I'll share with you verbally. If we look at the GOP levels, we are confident that on this location, the GOP levels before fees, I heard it, yep, will be 5 million or 58%. That will be the GOP levels before the fees. If we look at the net cash after fees and all the fixed charges, That leaves 3.4 million for the owner, which is 39% of the revenues of the hotels. One thing I would like to stress, so apart from these numbers, is actually that obviously we really add a soul to the development, and as this is a mixed-use development, there will be something developed next door, and we feel that a strong identity and a strong brand like Citizen might really benefit to the overall redevelopment. That's it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Just before I hand over to the others, actually, just one question I had quickly. You said you take your fees primarily on profit sharing fee, but you have almost no back office staff in the hotel in your model. How does that work in terms of compared to a traditional hotel?
Yeah. What we have done in our hotels is really let our staff focus on guest satisfaction. So we've taken a lot of the works from the hotel. There's no sales, no marketing, no HR, no accounting, etc. taking place in the hotel. It's something we do centrally. For that, there will be a small base fee of, in this case, 200,000 euros, which we actually take to cover these costs. But it's a significant saving compared to what you normally have to do. Have to spend when you actually have to hire all these people in your hotel.
I like the idea of getting 10,000 square meters back, but what's the hotel actually costing to build?
It's difficult to say, of course, in this market, and we have limited experience. So far, our development costs are between 75,000 and 100,000 all in.
And
per room, right? Sorry, per room. Yeah, per room, not in total, no, per room.
And what sort of exit value would you be looking at?
It depends. I mean, if you take the EBITDA of 3.4 million and you use the 8% yield, I'm not sure what it is. It will be something like 40 to 45 million. I mean, that really depends on the yield which is applied in the market. And the unique opportunity we have in this case is that no Citizen M hotel has ever been sold, so the owner actually has the option to really set the price for a Citizen M. I mean, yeah, that's quite a unique opportunity. There will be a first one.
You're looking for a guinea pig.
Oh, who knows? I mean, we're so far most of our properties we own ourselves because we firmly believe in the value we create. So it's not really that we're looking for a guinea pig in that case. I mean, we really believe in whatever we contribute to the operations, but also to the real estate side. So that's why we have chosen this opportunity. It will be quite a short discussion if I told you that I just wanted to buy the piece of land and then all of this wasn't really useful.
I mean, I'm almost lost for words. It almost seems, too good to be true. I get, you give me 67% of my land back. You do it in 10 months. You do it at lower cost. I get the same return on 33% of the land than I do with 400 rooms with, Intercity or the other hotels. It sounds like you've got complete flexibility in sort of a management agreement. We are
very flexible. So when it comes to the management agreements, I mean, we're not giving away everything. I mean, obviously, what I mentioned with, for instance, our profit sharing fees, they can step up and they can step up quite fast. So if we achieve a 45% GRP level, it might be 10%, which we're looking forward to get. If it reaches, and I'm not sure about this opportunity, but if it reaches 55%, it might even creep up to 35 or 40 or 45% of sharing.
And just my last question is, in terms of the sort of the F&B offering, obviously you're using very little space. How much sort of public space do you have? What are you assuming in terms of
in square meters?
Square meters.
What I assumed for this opportunity is to take actually 2 floors for our public areas and our society and meeting room concept. I think that will boil down and to create a basement actually for the back of house. That will boil down to roughly 600 square meters of public areas, including the F&B. That's comparable. I'm not sure if any of you have seen the Citizen M Bankside Hotel, but that's comparable to what we have there.
What out of curiosity, what rate do you run in Amsterdam at the airport?
I'm sorry, can't tell you.
Okay.
No. we're outperforming the competition, and it's quite a unique location we have there. I mean,
I'm just trying to assess, because you've clearly given people 18 square meter rooms.
15.
15, even better, and you're going to be charging 125 euros.
So, okay, to tell you where this comes from, what we see normally on all of our hotels, we're outperforming our competitive set with 15% on RevPAR. We have a significantly higher occupancy level. If you look at the occupancy levels of the existing hotels, they're between 85 and 90%. if we look at the rates, they are more or less comparable to what the competition is doing, and in this case, it's a mixture of mid-scale and upscale hotels.
And just to be clear, so it's 100,000 euros, 100,000 euros a key to build it, right?
All in.
Per
But that
key.
includes your finance cost. Yeah,
Not
it depends a
including
bit. So this is continental
But
Europe.
So I understand, but to be clear, this is not that cheap per square meter. Even though it's lovely that you're
Yep.
using 5,000 square meters, but it's 50% more than what a core is going to cost to build Novotel. I mean, you're costing me 20. Anyhow, maybe we shouldn't get into that much detail, but using not a lot of the site, who knows whether I know what to do with the site, whether we can split up a 16,000 square meter site in a clever way. But you're costing me a lot per square meter, and you're giving me 15 or 16 square meter rooms. Just a little bit.
If you look at the same time, if you look at the profitability, I mean, it's quite a big net cash flow. I mean,
None of this you're willing to
3.4
share, though. I mean, you cannot even tell me the rate in other hotels, right? But I'm just
trying to get to the bottom of this thing can
actually costs a lot to build for what it is.
Yeah. It's a high quality product, so it really is a high
Fair
quality
enough, high
product.
quality in 15 meters, you know, maybe a core gives me medium quality in 25 meters. I don't know where the, sort of solution lies, but I mean, can this really run 87% occupancy, 125? I just don't know what to gauge it on, to be perfectly honest.
Does this location work for Citizen? This profile?
The location works. The site is too big for us. So I mean, it's we're not going to create, because if we fully build it out, we create a 600 bedroom Citizen M hotel, and we're not comfortable with 600 bedrooms on this location, to be honest. And a 600 bedroom hotel will be quite anonymous, and it's quite a different operations compared to a 180 bedroom hotel in this case.
Well, I think that finishes your 5 minutes Q&A, Tiz. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
We have about 10 minutes remaining of the session. I'd like to give the judges an opportunity at the end to give their views on the presentations today. But if anyone's got any questions from the floor or simply observations or comments on their views on the various presentations we've given, we'd be delighted to hear them. Anyone got anything they want to ask, add? There were some questions earlier.
Citizen M, are you putting equity as well when you want a property?
It depends. It depends on the deal and on the deal type. But it is possible.
And your profit sharing is above the 45% occupancy to the owner, then you take above this, or you share from zero?
No, it's not linked. It's not linked to occupancy. It's linked to the GOP levels, and it starts at 0. Yeah.
Any other questions? We've got a lot of people down the back there. Anyone? Anyone have any views on which they prefer? Well, anyone on the judges, have you got particular comments? Should we start doing our roundup then of what your views are? Mark, do you want to kick off first on what your views have been today so far on the presentations?
Well, thank you everybody, first of all. I think it's fascinating the different sort of views you have and the different operating structures and the different brand ideas. I think if I put my more institutional hat on, then I like, and I'm not just saying this, I've just bought 4 of them, but I do like the specifically intercity model here. I think it's based on conservative, sensible sort of underwriting levels. I don't believe there's too much risk in where they've underwritten the product and what it can deliver. I like the lease terms. I like the stability of the income and a share of the upside. I also like very much the QREAM model. I think in this particular circumstance, I'm a bit nervous about the residential, etc. And obviously, it's just a hypothetical situation. But I do like that model very much. I think it's something that I at Invesco look at very often. Using an independent management platform to really get the best out of the operations, and then actually use the systems and the brands for what they're very, very good at, which is the marketing, sales and marketing, distribution, websites, loyalty programs, etc. But I think they all have their sort of place. And if Citizen M, really those numbers came to fruition, then I think that's something that we would have to look at as well. I think that's a very interesting proposition, but I think there's a lot of risk there that I don't think I feel that comfortable taking.
Speed dating. It's a great idea. We should just do this from now on. It's transformational. speed on brands. It's hard to say because I think in the end, it's all very, very interesting. I have a little bit. I like this, but I have a little bit of an issue because I just don't know whether on Q Green we may end up getting stuck with a long franchise agreement, but we'll sell the property and we'll boot you. I don't know how that sort of plays out on the exit. Maybe we would have to work out to, utilize the whole site and create something creative. I think this resi element is very suspect. I know you were working with limited information, but I'm not sure. Maybe we should have designed this a little bit differently for next year and give different parameters to different brands, because now it's clear that it's not fitting, to every one of these proposals. But it's all in its own context very interesting. Citizen M, it's very, very interesting, but that's almost unfair because they truly need not a lot of space. But I think we would have to dig a little bit deeper because it's a model that's not very well known, and you guys keep it very close, and you own most of your properties, if not all. So one day you're going to let someone inside a tent, and people are going to study the model and either believe it or not. It is very expensive per square meter, by the way. Even though they jack it into such small amount of space, it is relatively expensive, but hopefully it delivers, what you're saying it delivers. The Steigenberger, I'm a huge fan of this large intercity thing, but in all fairness, in this particular case, the numbers didn't 100% stack up. And so by default, I go here with Novotel. I don't want to make it sound like by default, but in all fairness, that's believable. I think if we can build the property for 130,000 a key, you kind of utilize the most of my site, so I'm not going to be undermatched and do something or be left with square meterage that I just can't use. We're all ignoring the land costs here, but as a good owner, I had to pay for this site, I don't know, maybe 500 or 600 euros per buildable meter. So I'm probably all in at 35, 36, whatever million if I take 10 million for this site, with the Novotel model. I don't, honestly, brutally honest in this room full of people, I don't believe that NOI, but fine, I'll chop it down by 10%. I still get caught up to the end. And, I get to more reasonable 38% or high 30s NOI percentage. And I'll get to an end value that's maybe in the 50s, which still then gives me very good 20+% developer's profit. And if you're really giving me the guarantee, 3 or 3.5 million, and who knows, after a couple of interviews by your new CEO today, maybe that's for 6% and not 7. So that gets me almost to 50 anyway. So I think mathematically, utilizing this site the best we can, and compared to the development cost, is probably the best mathematical outcome. But I think it's a little bit unfair in some ways the way we designed this exercise, because we need different type of a site for the other 3 operators.
Thank you very much, Marty. Tim?
Yeah, as I guess the banker, I found the Novotel and Steinberger slightly easier to understand. Got a little bit scared by the resi component on the Q, but that's an idea and an angle, and I get that. And Citizen M, of course, is great fun, and of course releases a big chunk of the site as well. Just going through the numbers, it still feels, and again, as Marty's point, if the numbers for the Novotel model are correct, and it feels like you could sensitize and still feel relatively comfortable, then that feels from my perspective the right type of deal to support. But the Citizen M is good fun. I do enjoy that one. That just for the ride would be great. So, but I think Novotel seems to be the most plausible based on the numbers and as presented.
My perspective is not that dissimilar. I like the experience, the certainty, if you like, that's underpinning the Novotel. It's sort of a sleep at night type investment. We could sensitize stuff, but the numbers for me stacked up. It was pretty straightforward, understandable. That's not to say that I didn't like the others. I thought they were all pretty interesting and innovative in their own ways. I'm familiar with all the products. I think they're all pretty great products. But if you're going to ask me where to put the money, I would back Andrew.
Can I just ask, Tip, would you actually finance any of this development right now?
Yeah, I think I would actually.
That was a long pause.
Yeah. No, I think I would. It's interesting because we talk about operators got talent, but there are the offer of leases on of guarantee, on some of these, or guarantee or lease, which of course means it's not a completely like for like type of deal structure. But in terms of the ability to evidence a track record, the Novotel, Steinberger, even the Citizen M, in terms of putting these in European locations, I think I think that there's definitely subject to the actual detail of the location. Then yeah, things are fundable.
The key point
though is you've either got a guarantee or a lease on two, and pure operating risk on the other two. So it's not exactly like for like.
Well, thank you very much, everyone, for coming today. Thank you in particular to our judges. I think it's probably always a little bit unfair on some to expect them all to fit to the exactly same model, and we appreciate that there are differences that perhaps give some advantage over others. But I think for those who are calling the end of the management agreement, I think it seems to me that we have a slight majority view in favour of the standard branded management agreement. So I think that those who call for the death of the management agreement are clearly mistaken. I personally, I quite like the idea of the separate manager and franchise. From a lawyer's perspective, advising owners, sorry? Well, actually, they're usually easier to negotiate the franchise and a management agreement with someone like Paul than it is to do. It's usually less to do the two separately to negotiate than it is to do one branded management agreement with most of the global operators. But I think for certain owners, certainly a lot of the ones we'll deal with who find the short-term management agreements particularly attractive over necessarily the longer-term financial rewards, and it depends obviously on the particular desires and objectives of a particular owner in a particular scenario. But I'd like to thank all of the judges for standing up and offering to put themselves forward in a competitive environment, which is always difficult for them to do sometimes, and to compare apples with pears in such a sort of arbitrary situation. I'd like to thank all my judges for their excellent comments today and their views in supporting this particular session. It's been a new idea that we've developed for this year, and judging by standing room only at the back, I hope it's been successful. Maybe next year we'll get a slightly bigger room. So thank you all very much for coming. I won't keep you any longer. Thank you.